Madame X was born on the Isle of Wight and she lived in Lemsen with her husband, who was a great occultist. Madame X herself was an occultist of great powers, a remarkable clairvoyant, and she had mediumistic qualities. Her powers were quite exceptional. She had received an extremely complete and rigorous training, and she could exteriorize herself, that is, bring out of her material body a subtle body in full consciousness and do it 12 times in succession. That is, she could pass consciously from one state of being to another, live there as consciously as in her physical body, and then again put that subtler body into trance, exteriorize herself from it, and so on 12 times successively to the extreme limit of the world of forms. I shall speak to you about that later when you can understand better what I am talking about, but I am going to tell you about some small incidents I saw when I was in Lemsen myself, and a story she told me I shall also tell you. The incidents are of a more external kind but very funny. She was almost always in trance and she had trained her body so well that even when she was in trance, that is, when one or more parts of her being was exteriorized, the body had a life of its own and she could walk about and even attend to some small material occupations. She did a great deal of work, for in her trances she could talk freely and she used to narrate what she saw, which was noted down and later formed a teaching which has even published. And because of all that and the occult work she was doing, she was often tired, in the sense that her body was tired and needed to recuperate its vitality in a very concrete way. Now, one day when she was particularly tired, she told me, "You will see how I am going to recover my strength." She had clocked from her garden. It was not a garden, it was a very vast estate with ancient olive trees and fig trees such as I have never seen anywhere else. It was a real marvel on a mountainside from the plain to almost halfway up. And in this garden there were many lemon trees and orange trees and grapefruit. Grapefruit has flowers which have an even better fragrance than orange blossoms. They are large flowers and she knew how to make an essence from them herself. She had given me a bottle. Well, she had plucked a huge grapefruit like this, gestured very large and ripe, and she lay down on her bed and put the grapefruit on her solar plexus. Here gestured like this, holding it with both hands. She lay down and rested. She did not sleep, she rested. She told me, "Come back in an hour." An hour later, I returned, and the grapefruit was as flat as a pancake. That meant that she had such a power to absorb vitality that she had absorbed all the life from the fruit and it had become soft and completely flat. And I saw that myself. You may try, you won't succeed. She also had the power to dematerialize and rematerialize things, and she never said anything. She did not boast. She did not say, "I am going to do something." She did not speak of anything. She just did it quietly. She did not attach much importance to these things. She knew they were just a proof that there are other forces than purely material ones. When I used to go out in the evenings towards the end of the afternoon, I used to go for a walk with Monsieur X to see the countryside, go walking in the mountains, the neighboring villages. I used to lock my door. It was a habit with me. I always locked my door. Madam X should rarely go out for the reasons I have already mentioned, because she was in a trance most of the time and liked to stay at home. But when I returned from the walk and opened my door, which was locked and therefore nobody could have entered, I would always find a kind of little garland of flowers on my pillow. They were flowers which grew in the garden. They are called Bellis Tenute. We have them here. They open in the evening and have a wonderful fragrance. There was a whole alley of them with a big bushes as high as this. Their remarkable flowers, I believe it is the same here on the same bush. There are different colored flowers, yellow, red, mixed, violet. They are teeny flowers like bluebells, no, rather like the convolvulus, but these grow on bushes. Convolvulus is a creeper that are bushes. We have some here in the garden. She always used to put some behind his ears, for they have a lovely smell, oh, delightfully beautiful. And so she used to take a walk in the alley between these big bushes, which were quite high, and she gathered flowers. And when I came back, these flowers were in my room. She never told me how did it, but she certainly did not go in there. Once she said to me, "Were there no flowers in your room?" "Ah, yes, indeed," I said, and that was all. Then I knew it was she who had put them there. Thank you, Jai Srima.